everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Corner. I'm Rich Estrella. I'm John Conti. Joining us tonight will be Dan DeForest. There's all kinds of stuff going on. NBA trading deadlines, NFL deadlines, a lot of trades going on. Not so much deadlines, but there's free agency action going on. Deshaun Watson, John, back at it, man. Last week when we left you, Deshaun Watson was the hot topic. At the time, he had 9 accusations, so it's alleged, that he stepped out of bounds with some female masseuses.
What's that number today, Rich?
The number is at 16 today, and I understand it'll be up to 20 by midnight tonight.
This is just an unbelievable story because when we started talking about it, there were just a few ladies that had come out, and then it was 6, and I think we were on the air last week, it was 9, and now this thing has spiraled to 16. Again, this is 16 alleged victims, but at the end of the day, you got 16 people coming out. Some of the stories are very similar, so this has really put a stain on Deshaun Watson. And look, this was a guy that was about to get moved. He wanted out of his contract. There were a bunch of teams interested in him, and I got to tell you right now, that list has really dwindled down.
I think Miami was one of the ones that was hanging on, but I think they've also dropped out. And I don't think Deshaun Watson, I think he's damaged goods. I don't think he's going to play again. I for some reason, I just think this isn't going to go away like all the others. There's too many accusations. This is not going to go away. It's titillating to the media. And the media is, if there's nothing going on, they'll make it up. Well, they're not making this up, I assume, because there's just too many people coming out. But here's the most damning thing. You can accuse anybody, but Jane Doe number 15 came out, and she was one of the few that had a brain and reported it. She actually went out and told her mother, called her best girlfriend. I mean, they advised her to stay away. Luckily for her, she got out of there before she was assaulted, but was very traumatized by the whole thing. And I was reading her transcript today, John, and holy crap, this Watson dude is out of control. He really is. And I don't understand, the young man must have some type of addiction because 16? I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. We heard our barrister Darren Baker last week talk about it. So this is going to be interesting, John. I don't think Watson is going to get moved. I think he's just going to end up going away.
Well, look, believe it or not, if all these allegations go away, there will be a team that takes a chance on him. There is no doubt about it. He is an absolute talent. However, with so many allegations, are these things going to go away? Are these teams going to want to bring somebody like that into their organization? Let's take a guy like Michael Vick as an example. This was a guy that, had a crime against dogs and animals, and he was pretty much ostracized from the league, but he made his way back. So, we've seen attempted murderers come back into the league. So at the end of the day, I think time heals everything, but this is a really tough one. If he's guilty, he's not coming back. If he's acquitted, I think some team will take a chance on him. But let's not forget, the NFL has a rule called conduct detrimental to the team. So there's a very good chance that he stays with the Houston Texans and they just bench him for the whole year and just tag him with conduct detrimental to the team. So he might not even play this season.
Well, if there was anything that would be conduct detrimental to the team, that's it. Now, I'm not going to throw shade on anybody, other athletes with the exception of a couple. 2 teams in mind that he could go to. One's the New England Patriots, John. I mean, they had a serial killer on their team. They did. No lie, Aaron Hernandez, that's what he was. He killed a lot of people, allegedly. He's dead now, so I guess we can say that. So New England's one team that comes to mind, and the 49ers are the other one.
Well, the 49ers definitely had some interest in him, but look, when you've got crimes this egregious against women, San Francisco's not really a place that's going to tolerate that sort of behavior. Look, there's a lot of places that won't, but certain places really aren't going to tolerate it, and I don't think that's the proper place for him to land. All these organizations, they need to look good to their fan base. So, New England, maybe not. They do have a reputation of taking some guys in and straightening them out. But again, it's all going to depend on if these allegations get cleared. If they do, you're going to see teams come knocking because he's still a young star in the NFL. They could send him through some sort of rehab and make him good again. We hope. If he's guilty, it's a whole different story, and he should not play again.
John, you already know he's not going to get cleared. There's too many allegations, man. This thing's going to, and it's the same attorney that's kind of getting a class action suit now, and that kind of cheapens it a little bit. There's going to be a lot of ways to attack this if you're Deshaun Watson. They're already discrediting a few of the ladies, masseuses, but everybody's got the same story. Everybody. And you have one girl that she was one of the first ones. You can call her patient zero. She was one of the first ones to come under his wrath, so to speak. And she actually went out and did something. She actually reported it to a few people she knew. And it's the same MO, John. Come over, and then I'm not going to repeat what he was doing, but I mean, he was doing all kinds of crazy crap.
Well, I read a few stories. One was by, I don't know what number she was at this point, but I was reading this and I really could not believe what I was reading. And I would find it very difficult to believe that somebody is actually making up something this graphic. Again, we weren't there. We don't know what happened. This whole thing is a shame because Deshaun Watson is a really, really, really exceptional talent in the NFL. He's got a ton of money in his pocket. And, it's just a shame that these guys can't just, control their vices or whatever it is, just, do their job on Sundays and just be good citizens.
Yeah, I mean, John, this just goes back to what I've been telling you for years. These kids that get to the pros these days, they've been coddled all their lives. Half of them didn't have to go to school. They were always covering for them because they had talent. And they've always gotten their way. But now they get in society as young people with no discipline, life-wise. Maybe on the football field they do, or the baseball field, or whatever, basketball arena. But they don't have it in their personal life. They're missing that gene. And they think they can still get away with anything. And that's what happens when you grow up getting away with stuff all the time just because you have some athleticism.
Well, the one thing about Deshaun Watson, let's not forget this, he literally grew up almost homeless. I believe he lived in one of the homes that the Warwick Dunn Foundation built. So this is a guy that came up the hard way, and a very humble young man. We know folks that actually know him personally. And look, very humble young man. I don't think anybody saw this coming from a million miles away. He gets all this money. He's crying in front of the camera, thanking the Texans organization. Now he's got this money, came from nothing. And then just 1 year removed from that, we have all these allegations. So did this big contract change him all of a sudden? Because he certainly seemed like a real humble young man.
Well, big contract, big smontrack. I'm telling you right now, ever since, and I'm not blaming anybody in particular, but as far as the new money grab, it's Mahomes. When they gave him all that money, John, you don't think everybody's head didn't explode? Everybody's head was exploding when he got that dough.
Well, because now Patrick Mahomes sets the market. And so, every year you hear so-and-so is the highest paid quarterback in football. So-and-so is the highest paid at this position. Every year there's a new player that sets the benchmark. Once that benchmark is set, everybody else that plays that position automatically thinks they deserve it. There's only a few guys in the NFL that really deserve those top-tier contracts. And Patrick Mahomes is one of those guys.
But does he deserve more money than Tom Brady?
He does deserve more money than Tom Brady, and I'm going to tell you why. That was never the formula for Tom Brady. Tom Brady was the guy that didn't need the salary. It's a new era of football. These quarterbacks, they're not going to go out there and play for $9-10 million a season.
I bet they would.
That's called a backup quarterback, Rich. These quarterbacks need to be making $15 to $25 million a year before they even set foot on the field. Backups are getting paid $9-10 million.
Well, doesn't make it right, John.
Doesn't make it right at all, but everyone's grabbing for money.
Well, again, that's why I think this is all coming to a head now, especially with Watson, because Watson was going to get paid handsomely on this deal if he got out of Texas. He's not getting out of Texas.
Hey, maybe he wanted to get out of Texas to just get away from everything. I mean, we don't really know the story. This all surfaced at a very odd time. He was looking to get out. There were teams interested. This story hits the media, and boom, here we are today, 16 allegations later. So it's going to be very interesting how this shakes out. You just hate to hear these stories happening.
Well, a lot of people were saying what I said last week, John. I was reading some articles today, and they played devil's advocate like we did last week. I told the attorney last week that, hey, what if he's dirtying himself up just to get out because they don't want to let him go? And then he turned it around and said, what if Texas is dirtying him up so he can't go? So, it's not far-fetched today. There's so much crap out there. We find out later, after the fact, that I wouldn't put it past either one of these dudes to dirty each other up.
Or what if the team that really wants him is dirtying him up the most?
Get him on
say,
the
what,
cheap.
we'll take a chance on him. Especially with media and the power of social media, you could pretty much send anything out there. People are going to read it. People are going to believe it. Because we talked about this last week. In the court of public opinion, you're guilty as soon as somebody makes any allegation about you.
Absolutely. That innocent till proven guilty went out at the turn of the century, my friends. You are guilty. Guilty as accused, Your Honor.
And especially today, because you can actually prove that people are guilty. You've got video cameras everywhere you go. You walk outside, you're probably being videotaped by somebody, and people still want to deny things, even though it's on video. Just absolutely cracks me up. You cannot get away with things these days.
Well,
maybe Dan DeForest
some
can,
people,
but we can get to him later.
Some people can get away with stuff, my friend. Your boy OJ, come on, man. You don't think he got away with something?
How's he doing this morning, by the way, Rich? Don't you keep in touch with him and
Yeah.
talk to him in the morning and have your daily affirmation with him?
Basically, every morning OJ is on the golf course and he's doing a 5-10 minute piece on what's going on. And the dude sounds sane.
He does.
He does. He has good points. He does. I'm not going to lie. But it's also that other side that you don't want to see, you know?
Well, it's pretty safe because we're on the other side of the camera just like watching OJ
Exactly.
talk.
Safe
but
distance.
Look, we literally listen to what he says, and I think his last 3 or 4 tweets or whatever he's doing, they actually make really good sense. So I don't know who's feeding him his information or if he's actually coming up with this stuff organically, but he's actually putting out some good tweets, believe it or not.
He's getting clarity, man. You know, it comes a point in your life you get clarity. He's not out causing any trouble. He's not out gangstering anymore.
Who knows what he's doing, man? We don't know.
Retired from the Oakland Crips, so he's good. He's good. I'm telling you. Hey, let's drag DeForest in here. Dan, where are you at?
Have him right. Hey, how's things going?
It's just another day.
I was listening to you guys about Deshaun Watson. That's very interesting. It looks like he's got, I think his strategy is to pay off as many people as possible because there was the 16 you were talking about and then another 8 coming forward. So he's in a bit of trouble. And like you guys said, the public doesn't forget that. It's going to be tough to catch on with another team.
Now, Dan, when you were accused, you only were accused of having a dozen liaisons with strippers. And no, I'm sorry. No, that's the wrong Dan. I'm sorry.
Different guy.
Wrong Dan. Sorry about that. I was
Different
thinking
guy.
another one. No, but
You thought that was Bob Gibson.
don't say that.
Oh, we can't say
Allegedly.
that. Allegedly. Everybody's allegedly.
Now, we're just messing with you, Dan, but you got to admit, where there's smoke, there's fire. This thing's going to end up in court somewhere. They're not going to let this thing go. They can't.
Hey, Dan, you make a really good point. Dan, you make a great point. You say, hey, look, he's going to pay. Maybe some of this is going to go away. And we see this happen all the time. We were speaking about Joe Mixon last week, how he punched that lady in the face.
He paid her off.
Still was a first-round draft pick by the Cincinnati Bengals. So in my opinion, yes, money does make things go away. But you're not going to get rid of 24 or 25 women with money. The stain is just too great.
Well, I think, if he pays 16 or whatever he pays them off, they can't really testify against him anymore because that's probably going to be part of the agreement. So,
it's
going to be hard to get them all. I mean, some are going to be probably really upset with him, of course.
Dan, the attorney's already come out for Deshaun Watson and discredited Jane Doe number 2, stating that she tried to extort $30,000 from him a while back. Wanted $30,000 to let the allegation go away before she even made the allegation. So it's like the prepayment for the pre-allegation allegation. But it never happened because she never got the 30 G's. So now she's allegating. Yeah.
He's
And
gonna
look,
be putting money out there.
I'm sure there's a lot of that goes on. Look, are there people cash grabbing? Absolutely. But when there's so many allegations, even if he pays everybody off and we never hear about this again, Dan, if you're a general manager, are you going to take a chance on a guy that just paid off 28 women because he, quote unquote, maybe sexually assaulted them?
And he's going to be the face of your franchise.
Yeah. How do you do that?
No way. You can't do that. You can't do that to your fan base. And I think you brought up a good point. You brought up Michael Vick. He had, that was tough getting him back into football. So it's going to be a definite blow to him. Ben Roethlisberger had that trouble with the strip bar, but it was not of this magnitude. This guy.
No, that was just a
This
drunken.
is really out of line.
This is a habit, Dan. This is a habit.
Yeah.
And I agree. I remember what happened with Roethlisberger, but let's face it, man. He was out clubbing. He was probably drunk as all heck and probably got a little crazy, but
Doesn't excuse it.
No, it doesn't excuse it.
However, that was a
But
one-off situation.
that was
Nobody
one
else
time.
came
One
forward. So
incident
that was one
versus
time.
24 incidences. I mean, this guy might get locked up or, we'll see what happens.
now, out of those 24, Dan, you could be absolutely right. There could be a dozen that are just throwing their name in the hat, maybe to get a payday. But when you have a number that large, you got to think some of it is legit.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you guys, once the number started getting up there, I thought about throwing my name in there. I know I'd take a hit, but I would do it.
Rich will do anything for a check. That we talked
That'd be a
about
big
that earlier.
payday, man.
We talked about what he did earlier, but we won't go there.
No. Anyways, that's a big payday, my brothers.
Yeah.
That was just a fairy tale, John. What's wrong with you?
I don't know what's wrong with you.
What is wrong with you guys?
There's a lot wrong with me
My
tonight.
God.
Dan, how you doing tonight,
you
man?
You pick and choose what you want to believe out there, my friends.
Well, I hope they can get to the truth and really take care of that, because that's, if he did victimize them, and like you guys said, he's innocent until proven guilty. But if he did victimize them,
well,
he deserves what he's got coming.
I got a sneaking feeling that we're going to see more of these popping up, not only in the NFL but the NBA, maybe Major League Baseball. Who knows, man? But this always gets like a little trend going for a while, and then it'll calm down.
Is this because COVID is over? I mean, was everybody dormant when COVID was going on? Because all this stuff.
Everybody's broke, John. They need to catch up.
I mean, something is really going on. The timing of it is weird, but you know what? These things happen all the time, and a lot of them go away. But a guy of this magnitude, it's not going to go away. It's not going to be a good situation.
John, name a better time for it to happen.
Well, listen, I can tell you, when he's already traded to his new destination where he wants to play football, that'd be a heck of a better time than this. Right now, he's on his way out of an organization, and he wants to call his own shot. He's got a no-trade clause. He's narrowed it down to a handful of teams. Well, guess what? That handful of teams, they're not going to be interested in you, Deshaun Watson, because you have this terrible reputation. So this is a terrible time for this to happen.
Well, of course it is. I think any time would be a terrible time.
No, absolutely.
Good point.
I mean, it's just bad all the way around. But you're right. Why now? Why all of a sudden, when everybody's been throwing his name around, going to get a big payday wherever he goes? He had a lot of teams interested in him, and then all of a sudden, all this stuff just comes out. He's done, dudes. I'm telling you, he's done. He's through. I know there are allegations, but you know how we are. I told you, we're in a accused. Once you're accused, you're screwed. You're done. There's no more innocent till proven guilty. You are guilty, my friend.
But some NFL team, if he gets acquitted of all these charges, some NFL team will take a chance on him, send him to rehab, make him go out and do good things for the woman's movement or whatever.
New England
get back in the
needs him.
good graces. That's about the only way I see him getting back into the league. Let's not forget Michael Vick. I know it was animals, but he had to kind of come back through that way too. And he talked to, I don't know, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do a lot of rehabilitation for his image to be able to play professional football again.
He's got so much PR work ahead of him. I don't know if he can overcome it. This is people, and there's going to be. I mean, what happened to the cancel culture? Nobody's canceling him out yet. It's funny how you got the political season's over, and nobody's crying about too much anymore. But maybe it was a year ago, they'd be all over this.
But this is an NFL player. This is a big star in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And the NFL does whatever they can to protect the shield. And if you play for the NFL, people always give you the benefit of the doubt. So right now, Deshaun Watson is still protected by that NFL shield. If he was an average guy out in the streets, he'd be in a lot worse trouble than he is right now.
Now, more so than ever, it's estimated that the top 4 draft picks coming out of this year's draft are going to be quarterbacks. And part of that is because of Deshaun Watson. It was 2. Now it's going to be 4. So you're going to have 4 guys coming out. Probably Trevor Lawrence go 1 or 2. I've seen it. A couple of people picked him number 2. I would take him number 1. He's the surest thing, like they say, since Peyton Manning came out. You knew when Peyton Manning came out, he was going to be something special. And I think Trevor Lawrence is in that same mold. Had he not gotten hurt, he might have won another national champ. Remember, he got hurt this year.
Well, you can almost guarantee that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number 1 pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I would take him.
They just signed C.J. Beathard, who was the 3rd-string quarterback in San Francisco. That tells me, hey, let's bring in a guy that has some backup experience that can work with Trevor Lawrence. So it sounds to me like they're going to go that way, and they should. You're only going to get 1 crack at a guy like this.
It's too bad New England doesn't have crap this year because, man, what would Belichick give to move up to that spot, John?
Well, let me tell you something right now. The New England Patriots have really tooled up that team. They're just missing a quarterback right now. They went ahead and signed Cam Newton again, but obviously
they're a dime a dozen, John.
But
right?
I think Cam Newton is just going to be a backup if he even makes the team once they go out and get their guy. They have loaded up that offense. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry. They've put some really good tight ends in that offense. They finally got some good receivers in that offense. So all they need to do is plug in a quarterback that's serviceable, and the New England Patriots are going to be a much better football team.
I just hope Hunter Henry don't turn into another Aaron Hernandez. That's all I'm saying. Tight ends have a bad reputation right now over in New England.
Just one guy. Just one guy.
Hey, we
He's
don't
a
even know
good
what Gronk was up to. Makes you wonder what Gronk was up to, right? Just
Oh.
kidding. Just kidding. Gronk's cool. Come on. Don't get all hurt about that.
Listen, man, Tim Tebow couldn't tame Aaron Hernandez, and he's
Yeah.
like a priest. So what does that
That's true.
tell you?
That's true. All right, let's kind of get off this. We can come back in a little bit, but right now,
Yeah, let's get on with it.
let's get on to the NBA real quick. Bounce around here. So Anthony Davis, we knew, is out. They kept saying, well, he's going to be off. He'll be back after the All-Star break. No, he's not. Told you that to get-go. He probably wasn't going to come back. I'm not sure if he'll be back this season and be AD, because what's taking so long? Well, it's a lingering injury, man. He never took enough time for it to heal right. So now he's going to sit out. So what happens this week? LeBron James sprains an ankle, and he's out indefinitely. Now, I saw the ankle sprain. It didn't look that bad to me. But whatever. What do you want me to say? Is LeBron sandbagging right now until AD comes back because he doesn't want to burn out? I mean, they can still. I mean, what? They're 6 games above the 8th place team in the Western Conference, so they would still make the playoffs if they don't lose too many. But without AD and LeBron, they're not going to win very many games, guys.
Well, let's just take a moment and remember that these guys are still running a marathon. They literally went from winning the NBA championship in the bubble. Mm-hmm. I think they took a couple weekends off, and then they got right back on the court. So their bodies have not had enough time to heal. Anthony Davis has basically a non-contact injury that's been nagging him for quite a while. And Rich, you say he might not come back this season.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. I just, after seeing the injury and knowing what I know about him from before, it just doesn't seem like he's going to be back. And if he does come back, he will not be the AD we all know and love.
But if he does come back at, say, 75 or 80%, and you've got a healthy LeBron James and a healthy supporting cast,
it ain't going to work.
The Lakers are going to be just fine. The problem is now you've got LeBron James with a high ankle sprain. Those things can be nagging. Those things can go on for a while. Mm-hmm. So now who's going to step up for the Lakers? That's the big question. Someone needs to step up.
And you can't replace what LeBron does. I mean, you're talking about probably 70% of the scoring on that team. And now it's gone. And you can't replace those guys and win, John. It's not going to happen.
You can't replace them, but they just have to get into the playoffs, and they just need to be somewhat healthy. And those guys, look, the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. And if those guys are somewhat healthy, it's going to be great. If not, it's not their year. It's very difficult to overcome injury after injury. Now they've got their 2 big guns out. What do you think, Dan?
I think, they're not going to really. There's no home field advantage really, or home court advantage, and so they just have to get into the playoffs. And I think they can make a run at it, and those 2 guys will come in as healthy as can be, or healthy as allowed, and we'll see how they do. I'm counting on them going deep into the playoffs.
The Lakers got 26 games left. They're 6.5 games above being out of the NBA playoffs. So they're going to have to they're going to have to win some games. They're not just going to be able to show. They're probably going to have to win at least 40% of their games to make it in.
The Lakers are going to make it.
Not big.
The Lakers are going to make it. The Lakers are going to be fine. And listen, LeBron James, he is going to come in full board, because how many more opportunities will he have to play with AD and get a championship? If these guys are remotely healthy and the Lakers are in the playoffs, you bet they're going to be out there trying to win that 18th ring. That's very important. That's why he's here. So the Lakers are going to go, balls to the wall, so to speak, and they're going to go for it if they're healthy. If not, they'll come back next year and retool. The Lakers are in a good spot for another couple seasons.
They needed Lonzo Ball, man. Shouldn't have traded him.
Lonzo Ball did not get moved today.
No, he didn't.
I don't know if he wants out, but there's just a big story that he didn't go anywhere. But your buddy Rondo moved back to LA, Rich.
Yeah, he's with the Clippers now. Rajon Rondo's has probably broken Robert Ory's record for the most teams. Actually, it belongs to Barnes.
Oh, Matt Barnes. Oh, yeah.
Matt Barnes played for 72 teams in the NBA over his career. Yeah, I know there's only 32 or whatever, but he played.
But he played for each of them 2 or 3 times.
At least. So Barnes actually got a ring finally.
He did.
He finally got a ring with Golden State. That was the last team he was on, but yeah. So I don't know, John. I don't know if anybody right now could move that would make a difference. I just think right now it's probably going to be Brooklyn.
Well, you said it before the show started. The only big domino that fell for the NBA was the James Harden deal. Everything else is really secondary. I mean, moving Rondo for Lou Williams, that's a moot point. Nothing really exciting happened today.
There's only like 5 or 6 players in this league that if they move, it makes a difference. After that, nobody's move makes any difference at all. James Harden is one of those guys you move, makes a difference. Kevin Durant's one of those guys that moves, makes a difference. LeBron James, Anthony Davis. But after that, where's all the rings at, fellas? Even Kawhi can't get one with the Clippers. And he had good help last year. So it's tough. It's tough. And Kawhi's got, what, 2 now? Or 3 now, rings?
He has 2. He
had with
he has one with San Antonio
and then one with
Toronto.
Yeah. I was almost calling them the Maple Leafs, but you're right, the Raptors. Well, come on, man. The Raptors are kind of a new team, and the Maple Leafs have been around forever. So.
Who names their team the Maple Leaves? Like,
well,
you can't, look, I know what it stands for, but that's got to be the wussiest
John,
name.
they used to smoke Maple Leafs up in Canada. They thought it was marijuana. So that's how they got Maple Leafs.
Thought it had something to do with syrup, but that's okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's the Providence's flour.
How tough are you to say I play for the Leafs?
I have no
You're not.
idea. I have no idea, man. Anyways, let's continue on. Anybody, you guys still, either of your NCAA pools any good anymore?
No, I was out before mine started.
I'm still in mine, fellas. I got the 2 finalists. It's just a matter of me and the other guy that had the 2 final, what our final scores are going to be. Now, Gonzaga and Baylor still have to get there, but that's where I ended up.
How'd you do, Dan? You were in like 10 different brackets, weren't you?
He had Orange Coast College winning this thing. I don't know what the hell Dan was thinking.
No, they were looking. Yeah, I still have Baylor and I still have Gonzaga, and Gonzaga's on a whole nother level. They're playing really well. So, I still.
They're scoring at will, my friend. They blow it out.
Yeah, there's no defense.
I like that
played.
freeze frame of Dan. Look at Dan just freezes like that.
Just leave him there. We're good.
What is it? Is it that the monitor or is that me? I'm starting to look like Rosenblum.
You're looking a little gray, man.
Look at it. No, man. You see that? I think the contrast here on the TV. Is that what it is?
The camera's off.
Is it the camera tonight?
The camera's off.
Because it looks like I got in a fight and I got scars everywhere. Man, John, you got the same look on yours?
No.
Let's see.
Oh, hey.
John, I look like Randy. This is crazy. Hey, John, why don't you turn your camera my way, John? Just flip it this way a little bit. You can fix it when you get back. No, do it. Come on, John, just flick it. I know Larry's all perfection, but turn it towards me. All right, flip it on. Let's go. Not a little bit. Right there. Turn it back this way a little bit. Pop it up, Larry. There you go. All right. Well, back that way.
All right, Dan's back now.
Hey, there's the forest again. Just forget it. Sit down. What are you doing?
Now we're good.
All right, we tried.
We're trying to fix you, Dan.
Dan, you okay?
I'm great. I'm hanging in there.
What was it like being in cyberspace right now?
I felt all pixely.
Where the hell do you go when that's happening?
Frozen in time.
All right.
So, I'm back.
All right. So you were telling us about your great bracket. You had
Well,
Mater Dei in the finals.
I'm still in. I got Gonzaga and Baylor, in the finals, of course, the 2 number ones. But I really got knocked off on some of the other ones, San Diego and Ohio State, and
yeah, Ohio State was shocker. The number one
upset city. This tournament. This has been crazy. That 15 seed is still in there, and a lot of teams are playing well. It's good to see. Sometimes that's because of the shortened season. We'll see how it goes.
Did I hear Rich say you had Mater Dei in your bracket? Is that what
That's what I said. That's who you picked to win it all, Mater Dei.
Hey,
bracket.
Speaking of Mater Dei, if we can talk high school basketball for a minute. Speaking of Mater Dei, that ladies team, they're like a WNBA team out there. And Dan, we know this because your daughter plays for Crean Lutheran. She had a great game last night. But talk to us a little about that Mater Dei team. I mean, they literally look like a WNBA team out there.
Yeah, their center was so athletic, so tall. I believe she's going to Stanford. She was covering the out of bounds person and then doing the trapping. She was so fast and agile. They have a lot of great athletes that are going to be playing college basketball. So, the Crean Lutheran team really tried really hard. They were diving for balls. They were rebounding hard, boxing out, and it just was. They're freshman, sophomore, junior team, and they were playing against some really powerful seniors. So they played tough though. Like I said, they rebounded, they scored, they tried to keep the game as tight as possible. But Mater Dei is a pretty good program.
Dan, if you weren't looking at the scoreboard and you were just watching, the intensity and the way those girls were playing, you wouldn't know who was winning that game because the girls at Korean Lutheran, they were really playing hard. And when your daughter came in, I'm going to let you plug your daughter. I think she led the team in rebounds. Now, look, she's a freshman, so coming in to play against, the beasts of modern day, that must have been a great experience for her.
It was very exciting. She came in the second quarter, and the first thing she came in, she boxed out, and boom, off came a rebound, and she grabbed it with one hand and pulled it in and ripped it down and then outletted it and kind of energized her team, got them going again. And then she really did great rebounds. She was boxing out and playing fundamental basketball, got about 8 rebounds, several offensive rebounds, a couple blocks, and made some points. So, overall, a great game. And it was exciting to watch, watch her play against that team. She loved, Modern Day is a first-class program. They have announcers that were, telling them, hey, rooting them on and everything like that. It was just really a fun experience for her. That's her first high school game.
What a team to play your first game out of the game.
Oh,
Welcome to high school basketball.
Yes, I was nervous all day. So, it was great to,
Don't relive it now, man. Don't get that anxiety back up, Dan. It's over, baby. She survived, man.
Right.
It's tough as a coach. I coach basketball, and so I know how hard it is, and especially when you're a parent, you have no control, man. All you can do is scream your head off from the stands.
Just yell box out and tell them you do their best and be there for them after the game. And the girls' spirits were up, and they watched film today and felt like they really had a good game. I really got to hand it to the school. They did all the COVID testings on all the girls, and when we went to the Modern Day, they made sure you were on the game list. Two per family, and just it was really well organized and overall a great experience, and it's fun to watch. So
yeah, it's nuts.
No,
it is, and to have a freshman man on the varsity team, and especially going up against the beast, that's a good first game for anybody. I would suggest it. Go ahead and get your butt kicked the first time around. See what it's like. You'll play a lot harder next time.
She held her own. She played pretty tough in the middle. When they brought her in, they helped. She did really well. So I was pleased.
All right. Well, I know John was thinking about it. John was sending me updates and everything, going, man, because it wasn't looking good at the time, but it got better. So that's all that matters.
Gianna DeForest, remember that name?
Yep, that's all that matters. All right, guys.
So it was stifling. It was tough.
So let's finish up with the NBA real quick. So again, with AD out, LeBron out, if those guys don't come back, one of the two of them come back, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be naked. These guys aren't used to playing together without those one or both of the other two. So it's going to take some time to gel, and I just don't think they have it. I don't think they have enough pieces, guys.
I think they're going to make it because I think LeBron James will be back. He will will them to make it. How far they go, I have no idea. It depends on the health of AD. But again, you got an 80% AD. I'd still take that. But we don't know where he's going to be.
Mm-hmm. So let's get to the end. Let's get to the end game now. Is it going to be Brooklyn? Philly? It's not going to be Milwaukee.
No, Milwaukee, no.
But I think Brooklyn's going to have an easy road to hoe, my friends. I don't think anybody's.
Well, Philly will challenge them.
I think Utah's living a lie, to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to be there at the end. I don't.
Utah's a really good. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. They're a really good regular season team.
Yep.
But once they get into the playoffs, there's no way they can match up against anybody in a 7-game series. So you're going to have your regular season teams. And you're going to have your playoff teams, and we know the Lakers are a team that's built for the playoffs. By the way, Dan, your Lakers didn't make your win projection that you were hoping for this year.
Yeah, they got a little bit handicapped with the injuries, so otherwise they would have done it. But I think, like you said, I think they're coming back in the playoffs and they're going to gel. I mean, they know what they're doing. They won it last year. They won it together, so I wouldn't count them out. They get into the playoffs, they got a shot against anybody. No home court advantage.
I'm counting them out already. I love the Lakers, but I'm counting them out.
You got LeBron James.
I'm
you never
counting them out. They're done.
He's the Tom Brady of the NBA.
LeBron's a champion. He wins games. He wins titles.
I think Bill Russell is the GOAT of the NBA.
Agreed.
That's very fair to say. Absolutely.
He has 4 more Super Bowl rings than Tom Brady does. And yes, that's the NBA Super Bowl rings. It's all the same. Super Bowl is the most coveted trophy, so everything's a Super Bowl. World Series, Super Bowl trophy.
And Bill Russell's
NBA,
just cool,
it's not
man.
the Larry O'Brien trophy, it's the Super Bowl trophy. Stanley Cup, they can have it. Hockey, you can keep it. It doesn't have to be a Super Bowl trophy. But they sure do treat the Super Bowl trophy like a Stanley Cup these days, don't they, fellas?
Especially with Brady tossing that thing around. Gronk bunted with it a few years back. That thing's making its way around. Now, you know that's not the real Super Bowl trophy that those guys are traveling with, of course.
It is. I think they make like a dozen of them in case they end up in the bottom of the ocean, like this
That
one
one
almost
was
did.
just cardboard and tinfoil, and Tom Brady's getting a bad rap for throwing it from one boat to the other.
I'm not giving him a bad rep. I thought it was great.
It's a great throw.
I thought it was fantastic. You know, it's that other side that wants to cancel everybody out. You can't do anything. They called it racist because he threw the Super Bowl trophy from one boat to another. How does that racist, John? I mean, it was ridiculous.
I don't know if they called it racist, but hey, they made the catch. It
I
didn't
appreciate
sink
it.
to the bottom of the ocean, so good
Okay,
throw,
guys.
Tom.
Since we're in the NBA, let's get back, or we were, but let's get back to it. Elgin Baylor this week, one of the all-time greats in the NBA. It's unfortunate. Baylor grew up in the era that he did. He not only forged the league and made it what it is today, but I honestly believe that if Elgin had played in this era, he would have made a tremendous amount of money. This guy had hang time like you would not believe. He would go up. All the defenders would go up. They would be on their way down. He would still be up there laughing. He still holds the record for the most points in a playoff game, in an NBA final, 69, I believe it was. Just a tremendous player, great gentleman. Elgin never got in trouble, was never in the news, wasn't a nefarious kind of guy. Ended up being the general manager of the Clippers, and he had an owner that just didn't give a damn about winning. Otherwise, I think Baylor could have made some headway with the Clippers, but he would never sign anybody. Sterling would never sign anybody Elgin wanted.
Well,
Nobody.
that was the problem. It was Donald Sterling, because Elgin Baylor was a player's player. I mean, God rest his soul. Everybody loved Elgin Baylor. Much respect around the league. So at the end of the day, I think Elgin Baylor was able to get the players. Donald Sterling just didn't want to pay for them.
I'll tell you what, Dan has something negative to say about Elgin Baylor. Go ahead, Dan. What do you got to say about Elgin?
He was just a complete player. I mean, I can't say anything negative about it. He's like, the only thing I can say as a general manager, he had a rough go. He, kept picking the same type of players, and
Look at the ownership, though.
Clippers never did anything. He kept picking forwards, and I was like, I don't know. But as a player, he was unmatched.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Elgin was just a tremendous guy, tremendous player. Came here from Minneapolis. He was with the Minneapolis Lakers for about a year or two. Then they moved to L.A. West, Wilt, Elgin. They brought the Lakers a title here, 72-73 season, and the rest is history. And hey, if they would have had a three-point line, Elgin would have still been up there. He might have rivaled West I think West would have pulled away, actually, for the all-time leading scorer at the time.
Can you imagine if they actually went back and watched all the film and recalculated all the three-pointers?
Yeah.
Can you imagine how many three-pointers Jerry West would have?
Jerry West would be the all-time lead. He'd have about 60,000 because about 60% of his shots came from beyond the arc, and he would hit them constantly. Chick called him Mr. Clutch. I mean, I can't remember how many games I saw West, and he always shot top of the key, always from at least 23 feet out. So I think West probably would have had at least another, 6,000-7,000 points added to his point total of 25,000. I think he would have had a lot more than that, actually.
Well,
I think that's being, short-sighted.
Well, that's a guy that transitioned over very well from being a great player to being a great general manager. I mean, look what Jerry West did to every organization that he touched. We all know what he did with the Lakers. Let's not forget he went to Memphis. He made Memphis relevant. Then he went off to Golden State, and look what Golden State did. So Jerry West was a very special man that was able to take his abilities on the court and then transition them in a general management role. But he also had good ownership in the places he was.
He did.
And that's what Elgin Baylor was lacking.
Well, let's face it, Jerry West is the man. He's executive of the year, and I think he's the only guy that either has as many rings as Bill Russell or maybe has one more than Bill Russell.
He's the logo, for goodness sake.
He's the logo, that's right. And I get a kick out of all these knuckleheads that come up, all these little bratty kids that say, Jordan should be the logo. Now they want somebody else. They wanted Curry to be the logo. Now, I was cool when they wanted me to be the logo, but I didn't want to be disrespectful to Jerry, so I turned it down. But to think that,
Dan's frozen again, or he's upset.
yeah,
He's either frozen or really
Hey, leave
upset.
that up there. I like that shot of
Yeah.
Dan right there.
Look at that. Dan looks so stoic right there. Let's just talk to him right now.
I think Dan's in deep thought. Dan, how you doing? How was your day, Dan?
Yeah,
Really?
Really,
Right,
guys,
my brother.
You can talk to us, Dan. This is great. Leave him up like that.
But anyways, Jerry West was the logo, and Jerry West is also the only player in any sport on a losing team that was named MVP of the series.
Yep, that'll
That's
never
how
happen
good
again.
he was. That's how good he was, you know. And he had a hard life growing up, man. I mean, Cabin Creek. This camera's so bad, Larry. I don't know what
You
the
look
hell's going
gray,
on with
man.
it.
You look gray, Rich. Rich, are you sick?
Look, I can make all those dark spots go. I just rub. See that?
It actually doesn't look that bad on the stream.
It looks terrible.
No, you
here.
look terrible in
It looks
person,
right here
though.
is just bad. I think we killed these lights or something. But anyways,
You look awful in person.
West is a local. You know how he got so fast? He used to have to race the animals because they were going to kick his ass. He thought he was going to get eaten. So he lived in a very rural area that is, in Cabin Creek is what they called it. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But anyways, Elgin Baylor, another great gone. Wilt's gone, Elgin's gone, and God, I hope Jerry West doesn't go next. I hope he hangs around for a lot longer. John, he has a lot to do still.
No,
That's America's realtor right there,
there
my
he
brother.
is.
Dan DeForest.
Dan DeForest. You can't see him, but there he is.
Swiper's got the plug pulled
Swiper.
on.
Look, Swiper got a shout out.
Swiper got
Hey,
the
it was
dog.
National Dog Day yesterday, so make sure you love your puppy.
All right. So, John, I think we lost Dan. We have a few.
We lost everything, man.
He's coming back.
Is he? Let's pop him back up. You know, we should have taken phone calls this week. That's one thing we decided we
Well, we
weren't
never
gonna
a
do.
phone screener tonight.
No, it's all right. Hey, look who it is.
I'm back.
What's up, Dan?
Doing great.
We talked to you for 5 minutes to your.
We just talked to your
freeze
frozen
frame.
face. It was
And
pretty
before
funny.
we realized that he's not.
Thanks, Don.
We realized you were frozen, and
We thought you were
missed
mad
out.
at us. You were just giving us a funny look, but we realized you were frozen.
So are you one of these guys that think West should be taken off the logo and replaced with like LeBron or Michael or
way.
something like that?
You imagine how many points Jerry West would have got with a three-point line? It would have been ridiculous. I mean, he was the all-time great player on one of the
wasn't listening.
all-time greatest teams.
He wasn't
I mean,
listening to us.
No, he was frozen. You were frozen when we
you're
said that, but you're right. You're right. I think he might have had 70,000 points.
Well, he was that good.
All his
he
shots
shot
were from beyond the
rafters.
arc. And
He
he had
shot from the
25,000.
rafters. His shots were so deep. I mean, it would have been crazy. And he's so fast. I mean, he was an all-time. He's the great. Probably the best.
You know, because there was no NBA All-Star game this year, not in the sense where they had the slam dunk competition, 3-point competition, fans couldn't participate. So what they did was they got in studio, and I guess Ernie Johnson was hosting this thing, and they had Charles Barkley, they had what's his name,
Shaq?
all the guys on the TNT show, Kenny
yeah.
Smith. They had Kenny Smith, they had Steve Kerr, they had a couple other guys. Anyways. Bottom line is they got to draft the NBA. There was 6 guys, and they had to pick the best team they could pick out of all the guys in NBA history. And Charles Barkley had the first pick. And you know who he took as his first pick?
Himself?
No. He should have, though. Guess who he took as who would you take as your first pick, Dan? You can have anybody in NBA history, and you're going to pick an all-star team. Who would you pick as your first pick?
Magic Johnson.
Well, not a bad. You can't go wrong with that. John, who would you pick?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
All right. You know Barkley picked? Allen Iverson.
What?
Number one?
He had been drinking on a drinking bench for like a week. He was not in his mind. No, bottom line, he thought it was all stars. He said, well, I would go with Iverson because of, and he started in he'd get a lot of playing time. It's an all-star game. He'd shoot a lot of threes. What he didn't realize, no, you're picking a team. This is going to be your team you're going to play with, your all-time team. And he took Iverson. MJ was taken third, by the way.
Yeah.
Magic go second?
No, I think Magic was like 5th or 6th. But Jerry West
Larry
was in the
Bird?
top 10.
Bird.
Jerry West was in the top 10. Yeah.
What about Larry Bird?
Larry Bird, I don't think Larry Bird was in the top 10 either. I don't. Oh, Kevin McHale might have taken him. I think he took him as his first pick. I stand corrected. Because Kevin McHale took all Celtics. And then
Of course he did.
So, and he's such an idiot because he tried to pull this crap. He said, look, everybody was saying, what the hell was that?
I have no idea.
Anyways, everybody was basically again trying to take their best team. But I don't understand where they were coming from on these things. I don't understand how MJ became the third pick, John.
That doesn't make sense.
None of this stuff makes sense. What was that? That threw me off.
Well-
what was that, Larry?
It was an ad on YouTube.
Well, let's not forget.
That totally threw my train of thought
Hey,
off right now.
Let's not forget Portland picking
weird.
Sam Bowie over
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. So, strange things have happened. But listen, if you're even thinking about changing the logo in the NBA, then you might want to rename the Lombardi Trophy too. I mean, you could always go in and retool things, but sometimes you just have to leave well enough alone. Let people understand what history is of basketball, and you must leave Jerry West on that logo.
He's not going anywhere. They won't do it. Because Michael Jordan said no. He said absolutely not.
Makes no sense.
Back to McHale is what I was talking about. What he did was he picked all the old Celtics, including Bird, okay? And then he tried to rest it on, said, well, I win because we've got 38 NBA championships. Well, let's be truthful. When they won like 16 of their 17, it was back in 1920, in 1920, 1930, when you only had to play one game to win the title. You either won your East and West met. You played one, maybe two games, and that was it. That you didn't go through a 7-game series 4 times to win it. You didn't have to do any of that. And so he's trying to say, why take Russell? Well, he had 11 rings, and Tommy Heinsohn had 8, and Bob Cousy had 6. You can't do it like that, because you know what? I'll put Magic, Kareem, Worthy with Byron Scott and Michael Cooper, and they would beat the pants off of those Celtic teams with Bill Russell.
So who was the winner of this auto draft thing, and how did they determine who wins? What was the outcome?
It was a cluster. They argued and fought and were throwing blows. And what was funny was that all these guys wanted to be picked too. They didn't want to be left off this team. So when somebody took Barkley, and then somebody took Kerr, and then McHale was going, what about me? And then so somebody took Kevin, and at the end it was just a cluster. But it was. My thing is this: Allen Iverson shouldn't have even been in that top 10, and you all know that.
Absolutely not.
Practice. It's a practice, man.
Boy,
Practice.
that gets so much run still to this day.
So that was my point, and Barkley really blew it, though. Taking Allen Iverson as your first pick. Are you serious? You got Kareem, you got Wilt, you got Jerry, got MJ, got everybody, Magic. Could have taken Kobe. You know, the funny thing was, Kobe wasn't even in the top 10.
Wow. Really?
Kobe was not even in the top 10, man. Remember, you're picking your team. Some guys' philosophy is, I need a big man. Other guys' philosophy, I need the shooter. They were trying to actually do it the right way.
But how did they just match up the teams, or did they actually have some sort of system where they ran them through software and said this is the team that would win? Did they determine anything,
Nope.
or was it all just
It was
for
all
fun?
just up there, and it was such a cluster, dude. It was such a cluster. That's all I can tell you.
Well, I think Elgin has to be up there. You mentioned him earlier.
Absolutely.
I think he
Elgin was in there. Wilt, Kareem, West, Worthy, and I think that's about all the Lakers. Let's say in the top 10 there was 5 Lakers, maybe 6 Lakers. I don't think LeBron was in the top 5, guys.
A lot of good players.
I don't think they took LeBron in the top 5 either. It was great. You got to see that show. I couldn't believe I couldn't believe I was wasting my time watching it, to be honest with you. But it got real funny when I heard Charles say Allen Iverson. I was hooked. I had to stay and watch it. Had to watch.
He had to misunderstand the question.
He didn't
Probably.
Dude, how do you listen, Dan? Listen, look it. They didn't just show up and do this show. They had a production meeting. They discussed it, what they were going to do, so everybody understood what was going on. Barkley must have been hung over. Something. Because to pick Iverson as your first pick, you have everybody in the entire NBA history, even the current crop of players, and you take AI.
No,
He didn't even win a title, and he never won a title. He's Paul George.
He did. No,
He's
he
a
did not.
5'11" Paul George. That's what he is.
Light 5'11" too.
All right, that's with the sneaks on. He's 5'9".
Hey, did you guys hear who's fighting?
Yeah.
What?
Did you hear who's fighting?
Who's fighting what?
Tyson fight? Isn't he fighting Holyfield?
Tyson Holyfield are coming back.
Yeah, I
just so
heard
you
about
know.
that.
Oh, he's going to bite his other ear.
Yes, I guarantee you, either Holyfield's going to bite Tyson's ear just to get revenge, or Tyson's going to take a bite out of the other ear. Something's going to go down with that fight. I had to throw it out there.
I saw an interview with Mike Tyson. First, he said he wished he never would have done it. Then he said he wished he would have bit them both off. So I don't know what the hell's going on with Iron Malik. Plus, he still has that. I don't know what the hell's on his face, guys. You ever figure out what that was?
It's some
Craziest
tribal.
tattoo ever.
tattoo. He goes to the same tattoo guy Dan goes to.
I know.
That explains it all.
No, I mean, look, when you have a tattoo on your face,
Like he had a flame on it, or a tiger paw or something.
something tribal, but you're not going to grow up in.
tribal.
I was kind of digging it, to be honest with you. I was thinking about getting one.
I think
on
you
my
should,
grill.
Rich. I think we should do a GoFundMe page for Rich's tattoo.
Listen, I stopped
Well, I
drinking
like it.
years ago, my friends. I mean, like that, where you'd go, yeah, let's get a tat, everybody. Yay.
Hey, we've had tattoo artists come in and tattoo us on the air.
We
so
do. We do it.
we'll do whatever we need to do. I want
we were
Rich
at the
to get
Angels-
a face tattoo on the air.
When we were doing games at
There it
Angels
is.
Radio, we had a guy come in wanting to tat us all up. We almost did it.
No, we did do it with SB Nation.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
We
you
did. That
didn't
was
do
SB
it.
Nation. I didn't have to do it. I already had a tat, so I drew it up before I got there. And Ink said, "I got my tat. I'm all good, brothers. I got a sleeve." But anyways,
As long as it's not on the face, I mean, like, or the neck.
It's on the small of Rich's back, so he says.
listen.
But I have no idea.
Tyson actually said he got that tat to thicken it up a little bit. He's getting a little weak in that spot there, so the tat, all that ink, give him a little extra padding. So
Now, look, here's what I
Fight
want to know.
Holyfield.
He added to it.
Yeah, he did.
I want to make sure this fight is for something because I know the last exhibition fight we just had, it was for nothing. It was two old dudes getting in the ring, playing patty cake with one another. I want this fight to be worth something, like a golden ear trophy or
Are
something.
you talking the Roy Jones fight
I'm talking about the last fight that Tyson got in the ring. It was all
with
fake.
Roy Jones?
It was fake.
Of course, it was fake. You think those guys are gonna get in there and try to whip each other's asses
I want to
at this
see.
age?
I want to see ass whooping, or it's not interesting.
Dude,
I don't want to watch an event where there's no winner.
I guarantee you, if they would have went at it for real, CTE next Monday after the fight. Because those guys are on the verge of having CTE. They may already even have it.
Then let them go at it at this point.
All right, do it. All right, I'm in. You sold me, John.
Thank you. They can wear
all
headgear.
good.
Just let them go for it.
All right, listen, we got the wind-up sign going right now. That's about it. Dan, you got anything to say on the way out? Good, bad, or ugly?
No.
All right, good for you.
Dan, you look perplexed.
Yeah. We'll come back to you, Dan. All you have to do is like on, what is that show with Steve Harvey? We'll come back to you. Just say pass. We'll come back.
Oh, Family Feud, man.
Family Feud. There you go. Thank you, Larry. What
Dan's
about
the-
you, John? What do you
Dan's-
got? We closing out with what? Deshaun Watson going to have 40 by next week?
Listen, Deshaun Watson's in a lot of trouble.
Think any guys will come forward?
I don't know what's going to happen, but look, we make light of things on this show, and
Yeah, we do. All
want
the
the best for
time. Never
everybody.
take the first thing out of our mouths serious because it usually ain't.
hey, and you know what? Go do something good for somebody.
Hey, there's Dan again. Hey.
Yes, I had something
Oh,
to say.
my
I was
brother.
like in mid-sentence
Nice
saying
job,
it, and
Dan.
then I just disappeared. But, yeah, no, I think he's going to be in big trouble, that guy. So he's just going to have to pay everybody and
Yeah.
hope. But I think the NFL will still give him fines and suspensions, even if he
It's got to be
manages
true,
get
though.
out.
It's got to be true.
True. He is innocent until proven guilty.
No, he's not.
Well,
No, he's not. That's 1950s. Like I was telling Darren Baker, our lawyer, last week, that's 50s dogma. Don't exist today. Didn't you see the Supreme Court hearings? Kavanaugh did it.
oh,
What do you want me to say?
yeah.
I know what I want to say to close. Do something good for somebody. Someone did something really nice for me this
Oh,
week.
forgot about
We're going to talk about it next week.
Next week,
We're
all
going
right.
to do it next week. Go do something nice for somebody. Pay it forward.
Listen,
Trust me, it's a good thing.
the shoe gods, we talked about how the shoe gods screwed me over about 8 years ago with the van sponsor and how John benefited with a whole pallet of shoes. Well, the good luck continues to rain on John Conti.
But we'll get into it next week.
Yeah, next week will probably
Next
be more.
week.
We need more time.
We need more time.
Sorry about that. I totally forgot about
That's
that.
okay.
John has an interesting story to tell. It's funny as all hell, but it's very interesting, and he's right. Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
That's
Go do
what-
something nice for somebody,
Absolutely.
even if you don't know them.
All right. My parting shot is we're out of here. That's it. You guys are probably happy about that. Wasn't our best effort tonight, but it was all right. Right, John? What are you thinking?
It was minor league tonight, Rich.
All right. We'll do better the next time.
We'll do better next time.
We'll do better the next time. then.
We'll try harder next week.
All right, join us next week for all the fun and frolic. We will have phones again next week. We got that whole issue fixed up. So we'll be able to hear all the crazies that call here because we've had some crazy folk already. We hear them fine in here, so I just know they weren't coming out over the air very well, very loudly. So we're looking forward to that. All right, on behalf of Dan DeForest, John Conte, I'm Rich Estrella saying so long from your friends here at the Sports Corner. See y'all next week.
We'll try better next week.